You know it's this. Take a perk and a talk of that shit. Money swallowing like sis. Did it perfect in the kid. Got a billion who sang on my head. Look me better put on the road I just spent. I know we got $1 million. The devil that shit ain't not cheaper again.
Hello and welcome back, fellow anime lovers, to MangaMuse. I am delighted to have you join us once again in the world of fanfiction and fantasy. This is the third part of What If Naruto Enters Pokemon? Special note, this fanfic is written and a masterpiece of pyrohelixdrago on FANFICTIONnet. Do check and support the author too. Now smash the like, share and subscribe button for more. Also press the bell icon so that you never miss such great parts. Thanks for the introduction. Now let's dive into the world. The next day. Finally, Vermilion City, Naruto said as they made it to the city. Let's go to the Pokemon Center and get something to eat, Bee said as she was hungry and wanted to feed her Pokemon. Everyone's stomachs rumbled at the mention of food. Yeah, for the last 3 days we really haven't had anything decent to eat, Naruto said as they had been roughing it. Few minutes later. Misty giggled as she fed Igglybuff and Lapras by hand. There you go buddy, eat up, Naruto said as he fed Riolu. Okay, this time don't try biting my hand, Totodile, Nessa said as she placed the bowl down and Totodile immediately began eating. These guys go nuts for your Pokemon food, Naruto, she said. They should. It has everything a Pokemon needs to grow big and strong, Naruto said. Just then they saw a Chansey running inside the Pokemon Center with a young boy as there was a knocked out and badly hurt Rattata on a gurney being pushed by Chansey. That's the 15th one this month, Nurse Joy said. What happened? Naruto asked in concern. Nurse Joy brought them to a room filled with trainers looking at their injured Pokemon as they lied in beds covered in bandages. This is terrible, Nessa said. They all lost to Lieutenant Surge, the Vermilion gym leader, Nurse Joy said. One guy did this to all these Pokemon? Naruto asked as he saw the many Pokemon on beds. He's a very strong electric-type trainer, and that Raichu of his is a powerhouse, Nurse Joy said. He thinks he has to crush all challengers even if they are obviously weaker than him, she said. A Raichu, huh? Naruto said, pulling it up on his Pokédex. Raichu, the evolved form of Pikachu. It can shock with more than 100,000 volts, enough to render a Dragonite unconscious, the Pokédex said. Pikachu said as he sparked up angrily seeing the damage his evolution did to these Pokemon. Yeah bud, we're gonna kick his ass, Naruto said. He went to go check on his Pokemon. Few minutes later. Look Raichu, fresh meat, Surge said as he saw some people enter. This guy is huge, everyone thought seeing how tall Surge was. More like the team that's gonna kick your asses, Naruto said as Pikachu remained silent, but the sparks around him told everyone he was angry. What could a baby like that do? If you want to become a Pokemon MSTR you should make your Pokemon evolve as soon as you get it, Surge said as he patted his Raichu. There's more to raising a Pokemon than forcing it to evolve. And I like my Pikachu just the way it is. If I want a Raichu then I'll try and find one. Naruto said to him as he knew Pikachu wanted to remain a Pikachu and he wouldn't force him to do anything else. Wrong baby, electric Pokemon are only useful once they've learned all their different electric attacks. Keep it puny like that and it's nothing more than a little pet. Surge said. Pikachu growled as sparks came from its cheeks. Think Pikachu can win? Bee asked the others. Maybe, but Raichu know a lot more powerful moves than Pikachu, so Naruto will have to really think of something, Nessa said as even though Naruto was right Surge may have had a bigger arsenal of moves as even though Pikachu was strong Raichu may have had moves that only a Raichu could know. So are we doing this or are you just gonna keep running your mouth? Naruto said as he got on the other side of the gym. Hear that Raichu, sounds like this rookie is asking for a one-way trip to the hospital, Surge said as Raichu laughed. Oh, would you just get that fat rat onto the battlefield already? Naruto said as Pikachu laughed at that. Raichu growled angrily at being called fat. Alright then baby, Surge said as he and Raichu got on the battlefield. Okay, let's go, Naruto said. Pikachu, use quick attack, he said as Pikachu quickly got behind Raichu and hit it. Get up Raichu, show this thing what you're made of, Surge said. Your Raichu is too slow, Naruto said as he noticed it as both Pokemon got in the gym. Oh yeah, Raichu Mega Punch, Surge said loudly. Rai. Raichu said as his arm glowed white and sent Pikachu into the air. Now a Mega Kick, Surge said. Chew. Raichu said as he spun and kicked Pikachu in the stomach with a glowing foot sending him bouncing across the field. Pika Pie, Pikachu said loudly as he and Raichu were building up a lot of power in the gym. We better back up, B said as there was way too much electricity in the air. Now Raichu use Mud Slap, Surge said. Raichu kicked up some mud that got in Pikachu's face. Now Iron Tail, Surge said. Pikachu got swatted by its second favorite move and slid across the field. Geez, Joy wasn't kidding when she said his Raichu was a powerhouse. He even taught it a ground-type move for other electric types. Gotta play this smart or we're done, Naruto thought. Body Slam, Surge said wanting Raichu to flatten Pikachu. Raichu jumped in the air. Pikachu, dodge it, Naruto said quickly as Raichu's massive form would hurt Pikachu's smaller one. Pikachu rolled to the left causing Raichu to hit the ground instead. Use Iron Tail, Naruto said to Pikachu. You too, Surge said to Raichu. Pikachu and Raichu began a clash of Iron Tail sparks literally coming off. Eventually Raichu outmuscled Pikachu and knocked him back. You're not the only one who knows strong moves, okay Pikachu counter, Naruto said. Pikachu glowed brown as it slammed its head into Raichu's gut. Make that rat sorry, take down, Surge said to him angrily hating that Pikachu was on equal grounds with his Raichu. Use Grass Knot, Naruto said with a smirk as he liked that move as with Pikachu no Pokemon could keep up and see when he did it. Pikachu stomped on the ground making vines come up and trip Raichu. Now give him a taste of his own medicine, Mega Punch, Naruto said as Raichu wasn't the only one who knew that. Pikachu's hand glowed as he punched Raichu in the face. Send it flying with thunder, Surge said as he knew lightning moves were weaker on Earth and other lightning Pokemon. Take it, Naruto said as he smiled. Raichu! Raichu shouted as it launched a massive blast of electricity. Pikachu put its tail in the air and absorbed the attack smirking. What the? Surge said not understanding what had just happened. See my Pikachu has its hidden ability, Lightning Rod, Naruto said, that means any electric attack you send at us will only make Pikachu stronger. See while Pikachu may not be able to dish out moves like Hyper Beam it sure can dish out powerful electric attacks and other attacks both a Pikachu and a Raichu can learn, he said with a smirk. You played me. Surge said in frustration. Yep, now Pikachu use Takedown, Naruto said using the same attack he intended to use on his Pikachu. Instead of Takedown Pikachu charged forward and electrical energy covered it as it charged for Raichu. That's Volt Tackle. Naruto said as it was a powerful electric attack only the Pikachu evolutionary line could use. Pika, Pika 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 Pika, Pika. Pikachu said as it slammed into Raichu sending it into the wall behind Surge. Knockout and out of bounds, Misty said as that was it for Raichu. Few minutes later. Surge and Naruto shook hands as Raichu stood beside Surge with some bandages on it. Congratulations, Naruto. As proof of your victory, the Thunder Badge, Surge said. Something is off what gym leader gives a badge after one battle, Naruto thought. If you're wondering what's up, it's that my gym does one-on-one battles, Surge said to him. So that's why so many people's Pokemon got sent to the Pokemon Center, Naruto said. Wait, if Raichu just beat them then why did the people look a bit hurt, he asked. Ha, Raichu can get carried away sometimes, Surge said as Raichu had explosive amounts of power. Raichu chuckled as it rubbed the back of its head. Everyone gave a round of applause for Naruto and Pikachu. You did well, you certainly ain't no baby, Surge said congratulating them. Rai, Raichu said as it applauded as well. Naruto picked Pikachu up, way to go Pikachu, this was one major victory thanks to you, he said as he hugged Pikachu. Pikachu hugged him back before zapping Raichu, who did the same in the form of a friendly exchange of electricity. Say Naruto, what did you say what town you're from? Surge asked. Palette, why? Naruto asked. Same town as Red? Surge asked him curiously. You knew my dad? Naruto asked. Right. Raichu said in surprise. Red was your dad? Well, you somewhat look like him, now that you mention it, Surge said. He helped get out of a dark place and helped me meet my Raichu back when it was a Pikachu, he said as he remembered that day clearly. You know, your Pikachu reminds me a lot of the one he traveled with, he said. Like father, like son, Naruto said, chuckling as he looked at Pikachu, who jumped on his shoulder. Splitting image, Surge said, laughing as he saw a lot of red in Naruto. Why are you so brutal with other trainers? Naruto asked. It's because I don't want to coddle new trainers with Team Rocket still out there. I want to toughen them up and show them that battles aren't gonna be easy and you're gonna face some strong opponents. Surge said. So you're not demolishing them, you're showing them what some battles will go. Cool, Naruto said as he could respect that. How'd Gary beat you? He asked, wondering if he made it here. Who? There hasn't been a Gary that came into my gym, Surge said as he didn't remember the name. Starting to see why Gary is getting more badges. He's going to no-name gyms and not taking on the regular gym leaders like everyone else. And there's that car, Naruto said as Gary should have been here and back to Palette by now with that car he had. He's a Pokemon trainer on a journey and he's traveling around by car. That takes all the fun out of a journey, Surge said. I know, some people just don't want to take their time, Naruto said. Meanwhile outside. The twerp's dad is the regional champ. That explains a lot, Jesse said as it explained much about him. Yeah, especially with how strong he is and how his Pokemon are, Cassidy said. We gotta inform the boss, Meowth said as this was prime information. Few minutes later. You all had better have a good reason for waking me up from my nap, the boss said grumpy over the phone. So sorry Giovanni sir, but we have information you may enjoy, Cassidy said. Well go on, spit it out already, Giovanni said. We have the intel about Naruto Uzumaki Ketchum, Jesse said. Ketchum, as in Red Ketchum? Giovanni asked in surprise. Yeah, boss, he's the kid's dad, Meowth said admitting to his MSTR. This is great information, be sure to give him and whoever he's traveling with tickets onto the Saint Anne, but do not harm him. I have something special in mind for this boy, Giovanni said smiling maniacally. Yes, sir, the Rocket Trio said as they saluted. Now go do your job and let me return to my nap, Giovanni said as he yawned. I swear the boss sleeps as much as a Persian, Jesse said as that cat Pokemon slept way too much and was basically more pampered than the boss himself. I'm still on the line. Giovanni said angrily. Sorry sir. Jesse said as she hung up. The next day. Naruto held his Thunder badge up with a smirk as they walked towards the harbor. Still can't believe we won tickets to this ship, B said as she and the girls won them. Still a little unclear on that, Naruto said as they went to the ship. Far away 3 certain Team Rocket individuals looked at them. Good evening Red, Giovanni said as he entered the cell. Here to breathe more hot air at me? Red asked chuckling. Some subordinates of mine ran into a very interesting child, you may know him, Naruto Uzumaki. Giovanni asked. You hurt one hair on his head and it'll be the last thing you ever do, Red said as he and Pikachu glared at him angrily. Too late, certain plans have already been set into motion, Giovanni said as he smiled and left Red alone. Be safe Naruto, Red thought as he knew his son was strong, but that didn't stop his worry. I gotta get out of here, he thought as he used his aura to break his restraints before doing the same to his Pikachus. The two quietly maneuver around the base until they came upon a room that had Mutuo held in restraints and inside a capsule. What do you want, human? Mutuo said telepathically. Come on, we're blowing this taco stand, Red said to him as he went to a nearby panel. Why would you try to free me? Mutuo asked. Because nobody should be held as a SLV, You deserve to live the way you want to live, Red said. It's no good, Pikachu looks like you're gonna have to fry it, he said as his Pikachu smiled at the request to fry something. Pikachu used Thunderbolt and fried the machine, but then it began to overload before exploding with Red and Pikachu getting caught in it. No. Mutewo said as it got freed. Mutewo looked down at Red and Pikachu's bodies as it moved some of the debris off of them. You saved me, human, let me return the favor, he said as both Red and Pikachu glowed. You must find your son, only he can heal you, he said to Pikachu and Red, and tried to flee with them as he worked as an alarm went off. Mutewo looked at the two before its eyes glowed. Red and Pikachu's bodies were lifted off the ground and began to glow as they came together before merging. Off the port. Ugh, my head, male voice said coming from a Pikachu floating above the ocean waters. The Pikachu looked around and saw it was on a piece of lumber as it floated towards the docks off Vermilion City. Naruto, it said before it lost consciousness. With the others. You okay? B asked Naruto as he went stiff for a moment. Yeah, I just felt like I heard someone call for me and it sounded familiar, Naruto said, wondering if he was getting sick or something. Hey, what's that floating in the water? Misty asked as she looked out to the ocean and saw something in the water. Is that a Pikachu wearing a hat? Nessa asked curiously as it was rare to see a Pokemon wear clothing. Pidgeotto. Naruto said as his bird Pokemon went down to the Pikachu and picked it up. Glad we just didn't go on the boat, alright, let's take a look. Naruto said as he gently placed the Pikachu down and checked it over. Pika. Naruto's Pikachu said as it looked at the other Pikachu. He's fine, Pikachu, just dehydrated and tired. Naruto said to him. The Pikachu then squirted out a bunch of water from its mouth before coughing as it woke up. Last time I surfed without a surfboard, it said, rubbing its head. Did it just talk? Naruto asked everyone. What are you talking about? Nessa asked him. It's talking like Team Rocket's Meowth, Naruto said to them. We don't hear it. B said, not hearing any actual words. You feeling alright? Misty asked in concern. Yeah, Naruto said, looking at the talking Pokemon. Seems you can only understand me, kid. The Pikachu said as he looked at him. Does that hat look familiar to anyone? Misty asked, looking at the Pikachu's hat. No way, Naruto said as he looked at the tag on the back and saw the name Red. It's my dad's Pikachu, he said to everyone. Your dad's, the one that's always with him? Misty asked in surprise as she understood what Red had, as Naruto and Pikachu were never apart. Yeah, but if he's here, then where's my dad? Naruto asked in concern. Sorry, Naruto. I can only remember an explosion and the next thing I know I'm floating on a piece of wood. Red's Pikachu said to him. DMN, well, time will tell, I guess, Naruto said as he was worried but wouldn't obsess over it. The only other thing I can remember was a big red R on a wall. Red's Pikachu said. Team Rocket, Misty said as that narrowed it down but also widened the search. I need information, Naruto thought to himself, needing information from someone high up on the food chain. Well, do we still go on the ship? B asked. Yeah, I need to get to Saffron, there is a lot of ghost types in that area, so I should try and get it, Naruto said as he didn't have a ghost type. I thought dark types are unaffected by psychic type moves. Don't you have an Alola, Meowth, Houndour, and an Absol? Nessa said. Yeah, well, it helps to be prepared, Naruto said as he had been hearing rumors of the psychic gym leader. Sure you're ready for a ghost type, kid? They're pretty tricky, Red's Pikachu asked. Then we'll get along, I like pulling pranks and tricks on people too. Naruto said with a smirk, thinking about all the mischief. Kurama and Pikachu snickered at that, remembering the pranks they helped him with. Pikachu said to him in excitement. Wow, you can use Volt Tackle, wow, amazing, Red's Pikachu said to the younger one. Do they know each other? Misty asked Naruto. Well, growing up my dad's Pikachu had a father-son bond back when Pikachu was a little Piku. So Pikachu probably wants to learn from him. Naruto said to them. Well, we should get on the ship before it leaves. B said as they rushed on board. Few minutes later. You found Red's Pikachu? Professor Oak asked Naruto. Yeah, stop it Riolu, it was just on a thing of driftwood heading to port. Naruto said as Riolu was jumping all over him. Well, since it isn't your Pokemon but your father's, you can carry it around, Professor Oak said to him as this was special circumstances. Okay, so how's my Pokemon doing? You haven't eaten my Krabby, have you? Naruto asked him seriously. That little thing? No, but check out the Krabby Gary caught. Professor Oak said as he turned the camera to show Naruto's Krabby in a fish bowl beside a much larger Krabby. Don't call him little, he hates it. Naruto said, warning the professor as it had a temper. A few things, Gary has really been getting the badges. How many have you gotten now? Professor Oak asked. 3, beat Surge on my first try. But it wasn't easy. Naruto said to him. You beat Surge on your first try? It took Gary 2 times. Professor Oak said, astonished as Surge was incredibly strong. Guess I'm better than Gary. Naruto said with a chuckle. You have caught 31 Pokemon while Gary has caught 45 by now. Professor Oak said. I really hate that car, Naruto said as Gary got around a lot. By now Gary has gotten 6 badges. Professor Oak said to him. Professor, don't forget I like traveling by foot and taking my time and not catching every Pokemon I see. Gary has a car, and besides those 3 badges the rest are probably from some no-name gyms. Naruto said to him. How'd you know that Gary only has 3 of the official 8? Professor Oak asked him. Really wanna kill that guy, Naruto said as Gary was a pain in the ass. Oh, I just remembered something. Remember that Fiero you sent in? Professor Oak asked him. Kinda hard not to, why? Naruto asked. When I was doing tests to find out what was wrong with it, I found that its system was flooded with some type of aggression DRG. Professor Oak said to him. Like what steroids? Naruto asked him. Something stronger and seemingly long-lasting, Professor Oak said, never seeing anything like it before. How strong are we talking? Naruto asked in concern. Strong enough to affect the systems of even legendary Pokemon. Professor Oak said, letting him know how serious these DRGs were and how powerful. Sounds like somebody's been testing it, because for a DRG to be that strong, they'd have to work on it. Naruto said as they needed the thing to make it that powerful. And whoever did it to that Fiero is still out there, so be careful. Professor Oak said as it took weeks of giving the Pokemon cures till he could release it safely in the wild. I will, goodbye. Naruto said as he hung up. Something big is happening in the shadows, but what, he thought to himself. Riolu then pulled on his arm. Okay, we'll go get some food, geez you have an appetite like mine. Naruto said. As Riolu pulled him, they took notice of a gentleman with Eradicate beating a kid Starmie. Want a piece of the action? Naruto asked him, knowing he wanted to fight. Riolu said, pumped for a battle. Well, now, is anybody else brave enough to challenge my Eradicate? The gentleman asked the crowd. Yeah, my Riolu, Naruto said, seeing his Pokemon jump in excitement. As you wish, my boy. The gentleman said as their Pokemon readied themselves. Alright Riolu, let's kick things off with Power-Up Punch. Naruto said to his little buddy who was raring to go. This is gonna be awesome. B said as she wanted to see what Riolu was capable of as Naruto was raising him gently. Match it Eradicate with a high jump kick. The gentleman said to his Pokemon. Both Pokemon clashed in test of power before Riolu sent the man's Eradicate flying into a wall. Whoa, he got some power in those palms, B said, greatly impressed as feet were stronger than hands in a test of strength. A one-hit KO, nice Riolu. Naruto said as Riolu jumped into his arms. How strong will he be when he evolves? Nessa asked B. Well, depending on how strong it is before it evolves, the much more stronger. B said as fighting-type Pokemon's strength basically multiplied when evolved. Alright, let's eat. Naruto said as he walked over to them. Riolu said, enjoying that idea of food as it was always carbo loading. Few minutes later. What's with food on luxury cruises always being so good? Misty asked as everyone was stuffing their faces. Kurama growled with food in his mouth as the gentleman approached them. So, are you all having a good time? He asked them as a woman was with him. Yeah, a great time. What do you want? Naruto asked him, wondering what he wanted. You know that Riolu of yours is quite extraordinary. The gentleman said, looking over the small dog Pokemon. Well, I work really hard raising my Pokemon to make them the best they can be. Ain't that right, guys? Naruto said, looking at his Pokemon who cheered with food in their mouths, their faces completely stuffed. Well, what did you think of my Raticate? The gentleman asked him curiously. Well, it looked well, but Riolu was kinda sad it went down with one punch. He was really looking forward to a battle. Naruto said as Raticate was really interested in fighting. Psst, Naruto, I think he wants to see if you trade Riolu for his Raticate. Red's Pikachu said as he could see where this guy was going with these questions. Are you asking me if I want to trade my Riolu for your Raticate? Naruto asked him, a little ticked he would so easily trade his Pokemon like that. Why, yes indeed, the gentleman said to him, honestly, I don't feel like capturing any Pokemon in the wild. I find it much more simpler to just trade for a new Pokemon, that way they're at a level I can appreciate and I don't have to worry about raising it because their original trainers have done the work for me, he said. Everyone at the table couldn't help but feel disgusted about his explanation. He was basically looking for trainers so he could trade his Pokemon for theirs instead. After staying silent for what felt like a long time, Naruto finally spoke. So basically you're nothing but a lazy clown who would rather trade Pokemon from trainers who put their heart and soul into training and taking care of them rather than capturing, training, and taking care of one yourself. Sounds to me like you see Pokemon as nothing more than things to trade instead of seeing them as valued partners. He moved the Pokeball from his face and looked at the man who flinched at the piercing gaze Naruto was giving him. I will never give Riolu away to anyone, especially to a lazy sleaze bag like you, he said as his Pokemon smiled and glared at the man wanting to use their attacks on him. The gentleman turned and left after that. Be careful, Naruto, that guy's trouble, I can feel it, Misty said as she had run-ins with people like that in the past using certain Pokemon. Hey guys, this ship has a tournament. First prize winner gets 3 Tyroke. B said, jumping for joy. So you plan on entering it? Naruto asked her curiously. Are you? B asked him curiously. It's a tag team tournament so we can both enter as part of the same team, she said to him in excitement. Sounds like fun. Naruto said, thinking it'd be fun to work with B in a tournament. Then let's go. B said, dragging him away. Few hours later. She's not gonna peck us, is she? Naruto asked her, referring to BEA's Torchic. She shouldn't, I hope maybe. B said as Torchic was still temperamental. I'm just afraid if she attacks us they may attack back. Naruto said, looking at his Pokemon who wanted a literal piece of Torchic. You're using EV? B asked him curiously as she knew Naruto trained it but it always remained calm. Yeah, so is Misty, Naruto said as first, second and third had cash rewards so they thought it'd be best to work in 2 teams, so Misty and Nessa are also a team. I swear I think I should make mine into a Jolteon, it feels like it fits its attitude. B said as she swore her Eevee had a fighting type Pokemon's mentality so a Jolteon sounded like it'd suit it. Her Eevee hears that and gets excited, agreeing with her. Wanna do it now? I still have some Thunderstones, Naruto asked her as he handed her a Thunderstone. Wanna do it now, Eevee? B asked the Pokemon, wanting to know what it wanted to do. Eevee pondered it for a moment before it jumped up and touched the Thunderstone, absorbing it as it began glowing, and when the light dimmed down in its place was a Jolteon. Jolteon. The newly evolved Pokemon said, sparks flying around it. Jolteon, the lightning Pokemon. If it is angered or startled, the fur all over its body bristles like sharp needles that pierce foes. Naruto's Pokédex said as he scanned it. Well, I'd say you made him very happy. Naruto said as Jolteon smiled happily enjoying its evolution. Good, I wouldn't want to evolve a Pokemon that didn't want to. B said as she wouldn't force Pokemon to do something they didn't want to. Almost all Pokemon want to evolve, they just want to do it on their terms. As that's what evolution basically comes down to, what the Pokemon wants. Naruto said as he patted Pikachu knowing he didn't want to evolve. You sound like your dad, I think. Red's Pikachu said to him scratching his head. Thanks. Naruto said in appreciation. This is weird. B said chuckling slightly from the sight. I know, oh that's our cue, we're up. Naruto said as they were called up for their match. You ready? B asked him in excitement. Yeah, sorta reminds me how we met except we're fighting together. Naruto said remembering how they met. Oh yeah. B said remembering her and Brock fighting Naruto. Riolu pumped its fists in the air throwing punches eager for battle. I swear it's like he's becoming a little you. B said very impressed by the amount of fight in the small Pokemon. Really, Rio? Naruto and Riolu said as they both tilted their heads at the same time. Yep, like trainer like Pokemon, B thought as Riolu definitely took after Naruto. Few minutes later. Okay Jolteon, pin missile. B said in excitement. Jolt. Jolteon said as it fired needles at the opponent's Blastoise. Riolu used dynamic punch, Naruto said as Riolu was taking on a Machamp. Riolu. Riolu said as he slammed its fist into the Machamp sending it into the Blastoise. Now Jolteon, Thunderbolt, B said. Riolu, use Copycat, Naruto said. The two Pokemon launched electricity at the two Pokemon knocking them out. Few minutes later. Oh my god, Naruto said laughing a little seeing Torchic rubbing against Riolu lovingly. Never saw this coming, B said to him. Torchic said angrily as the enemy Pokemon tried to attack them and she used a strong attack over heat. Riolu said as its sweat dropped as Torchic approached him and nuzzled against him again making him run away, Torchic following him chasing him down. Should we be worried? B asked Naruto as the crowd was getting laughs from this. I don't know. Naruto said not knowing how to approach this. Few minutes later. Again. B said as this time her Jolteon was getting nuzzled by Naruto's EV. Is there a Pokemon using Charm or Attract? Naruto asked as love was seemingly in the air today. Suddenly the opponent's Dragonair used Dragon Rage on BEA's Jolteon. Eevee soon became enraged and began glowing becoming a Sylveon. What the hell is that thing, the cancer awareness dog? Dragonair's trainer said before bursting into laughter. Use disarming voice, Naruto said to her. Sylveon let out a loud charming cry that sent Dragonair flying into a wall. Wow, so that's the strength of a fairy type. B said thoroughly impressed by that. Hey no fair, you cheated. Dragonair's trainer said. How did I cheat? My EV just chose to become the fairy-type Sylveon. Naruto said as Pokemon evolving mid-match was not something that could be ruled as evolutions happened at any time so no one could do anything about it. What the heck is a fairy-type and what the heck is a Sylveon? The trainer asked him not recognizing the name or the species. If you had a regional Pokédex you would know. Naruto said as he took out his Pokédex and increased the volume. Sylveon, the intertwining Pokemon and an evolved form of EV. Sylveon wraps its ribbon-like feelers around its trainer's arm because this touch enables it to read its trainer's feelings. This Pokemon is of the fairy type and this Pokemon has the hidden ability Pixelate, which turns normal type moves into fairy type moves. Naruto's Pokédex said reading his Sylveon's data. Wow. Hidden ability, nice. Naruto said as he rubbed Sylveon's head, wonder what it can do to Hyper Beam, he thought as that was considered an extremely powerful normal type move. Okay so I know what it is but how did it beat my Dragonair so easily? The trainer asked. Naruto turned his Pokédex's volume up again. Fairy-type Pokemon are immune to Dragon-type moves but weak to Poison and Steel-type moves. Fighting, Bug and Dark-type moves are ineffective against them and they are super effective against Dragon-types and Dark-types, the Pokédex said, answering the man's question. Well, I was screwed the moment it evolved, the man said. Hey Naruto, a little help here. B said as Jolteon was fighting an Alolan Graveler. Okay Sylveon, use Iron Tail. Naruto said to her. Sylveon's tail glowed and smacked the Alolan Graveler back. Graveler, use Gyro Ball, the Graveler trainer said, taking out Sylveon. All up to you B, you got this. Naruto said happily. Okay Jolteon, use Retaliate. B said as she need to be smart as electric-type moves were weak on rock-type Pokemon, especially when it had electricity as well, so she was limited. Jolteon howled as it glowed white and charged at the Alolan Graveler and slammed into it, making it slide back and fall onto its back. Good thinking. Retaliate's power gets boosted when an ally's Pokemon gets taken out on the previous turn. Naruto said as that was a smart move. Come on, get up Graveler. The trainer said as his Pokemon was not down yet. Now use Mud Slap. B said, glad that Jolteon knew that move. Jolteon sent mud into the Alolan Graveler's eyes, both being blinded and getting extra hurt on account of it being both a rock and electric type. Now finish it off with a double kick. B said, needing that attack to finish that Pokemon. Jolteon charged and kicked the Graveler twice before flipping back onto its feet as the Alolan Graveler got knocked out from the attack. Who? B said, cheering for their victory as Jolteon ran and jumped into her arms. Nicely done. Naruto said, happy for her as she won the battle. Few minutes later. So now it's just you and us. Naruto said as their next opponents were Misty and Nessa. Yep, well at least we know we'll get the first and second prize money, Nessa said. But it's time to see who will win, Misty said. Us. B and Naruto said, both having smirks on their faces. B and Naruto sent out Makuhita and Riolu as Misty sent out her Starmie and Nessa sent out her Totodile. This'll be both fun and adorable if I'm being honest. Nessa said as seeing the small but strong Pokemon fight would be just that. Riolu and Makuhita bumped fists as they got ready. Keep those chompers ready Totodile, Nessa said to the crocodile-like Pokemon. Okay, use Thunder Punch. Naruto and B said to their Pokemon as they both knew the Pokemon knew that move and they were very effective against water Pokemon. Starmie, use Reflect. Misty said, able to defend against the attack Riolu sent. Totodile, use Icy Wind. Nessa said as she knew that would slow them down slightly. Use Close Combat, B said to Makuhita as it used it on Starmie. Riolu, use Poison Jab, Naruto said as Riolu got a solid hit on Totodile. Starmie, use Ice Beam, Misty said with a smile as this was getting interesting. Starmie fired the beam, freezing Makuhita's lower body. Makuhita. B said, freezing up. The ice covering Makuhita began to crack as light came through the cracks as it exploded, and in its place was a Hariyama. Hari, the newly evolved Hariyama said it stood there. Your Pokemon isn't the only one evolving, Misty said as she looked at Totodile who was evolving into a Crocodile. What the hell did we do to these Pokemon, Naruto said, chuckling a little. Hariyama, use Focus Punch, B said in excitement, getting focused by the battle. Hariyama thrusted its hand right in Starmie's gem, making the Pokemon slide past Misty, slamming into the wall. Oh no, Starmie. Misty said as her Pokemon was knocked out. Guess it's just us, Nessa said to Crocodile as they were all that was left. Riolu, use Bullet Punch, Naruto said, but Crocodile dodged it. Use Aerial Ace. Nessa said as she took advantage of her Pokemon knowing a flying type move. Crocodile zipped forward and headbutt Riolu, sending it sliding across the battlefield. Riolu groaned as it got back up. Whoa, B said as that was a heavy hit and Riolu was getting back up. Finish it off with another Aerial Ace. Nessa said, wanting Riolu taken down. Hariyama, use Protect. B said to her Pokemon. Hariyama got in front of Riolu and made a shield that caused Crocodile to bounce off and back to its side. Thanks. Naruto said to B. Riolu growled, slightly mad that Hariyama had to come and save it, and then stood tall and let out a roar as it shined brightly and became Lucario. What the hell? B said as Torchic came out, as was soon fawning over Lucario. Okay, now that is borderline creepy, Naruto said as the small bird fawning over the now much more mature dog. Lucario, the aura Pokemon. It can tell what people are thinking. Only trainers who have justice in their hearts can earn this Pokemon's trust. Naruto's Pokédex said. Okay, Lucario, Aura Sphere. Naruto said. Lucario growled as it made a sphere of its aura before launching it right at Crocodile, sending the Pokemon flying right into the wall. Crocodile. Nessa said in worry, seeing it was knocked out. Winners, the ref said. Few minutes later. Well, we won a lot of cash, Nessa said happily as they won a lot. B was too busy holding her 2 new Tyrogue in pure joy to say anything. She gets 2 and I get 1. Naruto said with a smile as he rubbed his Tyrogue's head. Naruto, Jenny said walking up to him as she was working security. Joy had a package that she received, it's from Oak, she said. Naruto looked confused as he headed for the ship's infirmary/Pokemon Center and saw a box with his name on it. Wonder what he sent you. B said as Oak was a little secretive. Let's see, it has a note. Naruto said, picking up the note off the box. Dear Naruto, I have been in contact with Professor Sycamore and he sent me some special stones for your Pokemon. He read. Special stones, he said. Hey, isn't Professor Sycamore the world's leading expert on Mega Evolution? Nessa asked. Yeah, you're right. I've read some of his books. Special stones, he must mean Mega Stones. Naruto said as he opened the box, showing 5 stones. Pretty, Misty said, looking at one. These are Charizardite X and Y, Gyarados, Lucarionite and Beetlelite. These stones with my Mega Stone can cause my Pokemon to Mega Evolve. Naruto said, thinking it'd be cool. Mega Evolve? Misty asked, not knowing the term. Yes, it's when a trainer has a key stone and when a Pokemon has their Mega Stone, they connect on a level that not many can explain and it causes them to evolve past their evolutionary limits. I've read that a Lopunny when Mega Evolve becomes a normal and fighting type, like how when a Charizard has its X Mega Stone it becomes a dragon and fire type, Naruto said. Now I want a Mega Lopunny. B said, thinking it'd be cool. So not only does it make them change their appearance, it also changes their type and abilities. Naruto said, explaining. Does Torchic have a Mega form? B asked, holding Torchic in her hands. Yes, Blaziken does, and so does Lucario. Guess now we'll have to keep an eye out for Mega Stones while we travel. Naruto said as they were rare in certain places, though you all will need keystones first. Maybe Oak could give Sycamore a call, he said, knowing that was one of Oak's contacts. Torchic chirped, very eager to evolve into a Blaziken now more than ever, as at first it was to grow stronger than to be more mature for Lucario, now it was to be on par with him. Suddenly the doors in the room began closing and locking. What the? Naruto said, wondering why they locked. Then many people in the room tossed their outfits off to reveal Team Rocket uniforms underneath, as they had some kind of vacuums on their backs. On a pedestal stood Jessie and Cassidy and Meowth. To protect the world, Jessie was saying. Nobody cares about your stupid motto. Naruto shouted, making them face. Vault. So how you guys want to do this? We're outgunned, Nessa said to them as there was around 50 people here. Team Rocket will now take possession of your Pokemon, Cassidy said as the grunts began sucking up the trainers' Pokeballs in the room. If they're gonna take our Pokemon, then how about we make it more challenging? Come on, we gotta fight back. B said as they unleashed all their Pokemon. Everyone in the room agreed as they tossed out their Pokemon as well. Pikachu joined up with the other Pikachus as well as Charmander, Bulbasaur, Squirtle, and Butterfree as they stood on each other like towers attacking together. End of the line, twerps. Meowth said to them. Torchic ran at him and began pecking his face. Time to up the ante, Naruto said looking at Charizard, Lucario, and Gyarados as he sent them out and tossed them Mega Evolution Stones. Torchic. Torchic said as it headbutted him, knocking him over before he could activate the Mega Evolution. Hey, what's your problem now? Naruto asked as he rubbed his stomach. Torchic, Sheik, Tor. Torchic said angrily. Huh, it wants to take me on by itself to prove it's strong to Lucario? Meowth said, translating what Torchic was saying. Well, you little chicken, you'll have to deal with my friends, he said as Ekans and Coughing came beside him, and why would he be interested in a shrimp like you, he said as Torchic at that moment growled before screeching as it began to glow and grow into a combustion. Is every Pokemon we got evolving today? Naruto said as it's been evolution non-stop since they've been on the ship. Don't know, kid. Red's Pikachu said, hiding behind his leg. What, why aren't you helping? Naruto asked the Pikachu. Oh, funny story, I have no clue how to use my powers, Red's Pikachu said plainly. So basically Team Rocket's Meowth is more useful than you, is that what you're telling me right now? Naruto asked the Pokemon. Well, you don't have to sound mean about it. Red's Pikachu said, pouting. Combustion kicked Meowth into Ekans and Coughing, knocking them out. Okay Pikachus, send them flying with a group thunderbolt. Naruto said as he got the attention of all the other Pokemon. The Pikachus in the room stacked on top of the other Pikachus with Naruto's on the top of the pyramid before they blasted Team Rocket with one conjoined thunderbolt, knocking them all out. We showed them not to mess with us. Red's Pikachu said. You didn't do SHT, Naruto said, wanting to actually strangle him if he thought he was taking any credit. Just in time too, we're on course for a storm. Nessa said as the waves were getting violent. Okay everyone, this is your captain speaking, hold on tight as we're gonna have to go around this storm, the captain said over the PA system. Gyarados, Naruto said looking at his large Pokemon. I know what you're gonna do, and let me be honest, it's pretty dumb what you're thinking, so let me lend a hand, Nessa said as they dove down into the water. What the hell? B said, feeling the ship shift at that very moment. Is that? Misty asked B curiously. Naruto, they said together. Underwater. Gyarados and Dreadnought were currently pushing the ship off course, Gyarados literally pushing it while Dreadnought was Dynamaxed, keeping it from heading into any rocks or getting caught in the wrong currents. We've got a few minutes left of air before we have to go up, Nessa thought, knowing they could only hold their breath for so long. Naruto looked at the keystone on his charm and to Gyarados, who was still holding the Gyarados he tossed to it. Gyarados looked back and nodded, knowing what Naruto was thinking. Naruto pressed his keystone and began glowing with an aura forming around him just as Gyarados' energy shot from the two and came together. Gyarados was surrounded by stone but in a few moments burst out of the sphere, now having a more predatory fish-like appearance as it had more larger and sharper features and a giant fin on its back. The newly mega-evolved Gyarados roared as it made the ship turn with ease as it knew time wasn't on its trainer's side. The Pokemon let go as they could see the ship was now steering away from the storm, and soon Gyarados and Dreadnought shot to the surface. Whoa! Misty said as she saw the mega-evolved Gyarados breach out of the water. Way to go, buddy. Naruto said, patting Gyarados as he greedily breathed, as did Nessa on Dynamax Dreadnought's back. The two looked up as the entire ship applauded and cheered for them. Phew, I need a vacation from this vacation. Naruto said as he and Nessa got back on the ship and recalled Gyarados and Dreadnought. Well, this was fun, Misty said as she saw Jenny arresting all the Team Rocket members. Hold on, Naruto said to Jenny as she got to Cassidy and Jessie. Next day. I can't believe you got Jenny to agree to this, Nessa said as Jessie and Cassidy were now a part of their group. I thought it'd be convenient to have members of Team Rocket with us, otherwise it's off to the slammer, Naruto said as he struck a deal with Jenny after long negotiations. Yes, we got the memo, Jessie said to him as they agreed, seeing their other Team Rocket members abandon them when odds seemed less favorable. Finally, Porta Vista. Misty said in relief, seeing the port town. Surfing and taking in the sun, finally a real vacation. Nessa said to them, stretching her limbs. Until some problem comes up. Naruto said, getting multiple hits on the head. Ow, what? Everywhere we go something happens, can't you agree on that? He asked the others. Yeah, but we all got new bathing suits from the store on the ship that we want to try out. B said to him teasingly. Yeah, don't you want to see them? Misty asked him, wanting to hear him say yes. Yeah, as we soak in the rays of the sun. Don't you want to have some fun on a nice day like today? Nessa asked him, placing a hand on her peach. Quit filling my head with thoughts before you make my pee-pee rip through my pants. Naruto said. Jessie and Cassidy blushed very brightly hearing that. Keep what you humans do in the bedroom to yourselves, Meowth said, voicing his thoughts. I have a female Meowth that'll claw what you have below the belt, Naruto said to him. You mean the same Meowth that likes that different looking Meowth of yours? Meowth said. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Naruto said with a smile. Maybe I should have both of them shred your nuts for fun, he said with a smirk. Hey, let's take it back a notch here, buddy. Meowth said nervously, not wanting to lose his manhood. To the B. Misty, Nessa, and B said, dragging Naruto behind them. 1 hour later. We see the way you look at him, B said, enjoying the sun on her skin. Naruto was enjoying himself as he and his other Pokemon among the others were using his Gyarados like a slide into the water. And you two look way too comfortable with each other, Misty said, glad Nessa was getting changed. You can see what he's capable of soon, B said, knowing Nessa was going to make a move soon. Misty smiled, seeing Pikachu and Kurama playing with Igglybuff and Cleffa in the small kiddie pool they made for them. Chew. Pikachu called out with its eyes closed. Clef/Buff, the two Pokemon said as they swam around Pikachu, enjoying playing Marco Polo. He's certainly nice to look at without his shirt on. Jessie said, with Cassidy agreeing with her. And I think I can make a certain something out, Cassidy said, looking at his trunks. Misty and B said a little just from thought. I think we're not the only women checking him out. Jessie said to her former partner in crime. Yeah, seems like almost. All the women on the B are doing the same. Cassidy said, looking around. Tisk, just let them try something. B said, as most of the women were just looking at him like a slab of meat. I'm gonna go see Nessa, she said, taking off. Few minutes later in their hotel room. I know that look, Nessa, and let me tell you it ain't gonna happen, B said, as she didn't know why, but ever since she met Nessa she felt this strong rivalry, and all it ever did was grow over almost everything. How can you be so sure? Nessa asked her confidently. I am his MSTRS, B said to her seriously, and I ain't gonna give that up, she said, getting right in Nessa's face. So you can be a good girl and submit, or fight me and still submit, she, placing her hands on Nessa's peach. Nessa slightly from BEA's touch. Oh, and before I forget, B said, snapping her fingers, Misty soon walking in. Get to work, she said, wanting the girl that submitted to her to do as she said. Misty smiled as she got behind Nessa and grabbed her melons and groped them. Naruto would enjoy you, she said, knowing she was enjoying Nessa's body herself. Yeah, he would, just feel her peach. B said, giving Nessa's peach a somewhat playful smack, enjoying watching it ripple. Come on B, let's have some actual fun together, Nessa said to her, smacking her peach. B pulled Nessa into a kiss, both women fighting for them swing their tongues into the other's mouth. Nessa made a muffled as she felt Misty pull down the lower part of her bikini and begin eating out her peach. That'll be you servicing each and every one of my holes and servicing our MSTR any way he deems, no matter when or where, B said to her, Nessa's music to her ears. What the hell B, Naruto said, coming inside. I wanted to break Nessa in, he said to her. Sorry MSTR, B said to Naruto. As much fun as this servant MSTR thing is, I see all of you equally, I love all of you the same, Naruto said to them, making them all blush and smile in joy. You two can come out of the bathroom, he said with a smirk. Jessie and Cassidy out blushing like crazy. More to break, B said as her panties were soaked, seeing that Jessie and Cassidy were wet as juices leaked from their kitties. Allow me, Moss, Naruto. Misty said as she pulled down his trunks to show his manhood to the three new women. We made the right choice taking that deal, Jessie and Cassidy thought, getting even wetter. He's gonna break me, Nessa thought, getting turned on by that very thought. Misty took Naruto's manhood into her mouth, doing his pee-pee, her cheeks flushed with lust and corniness. Nessa, let's get these two ready, B said, looking at Jessie and Cassidy. I guess I can take being told now that Naruto says we're all equals. Nessa said as she took Cassidy while B took Jessie, pulling down their panties and began to eat them out, making them mmm loudly. If I keep getting more girls to walk with me, I might as well call you all my cheer squad like Gary has his cheerleaders. Naruto said, not having any reservations to the idea, as the women he had were appealing and seeing them in skimpy cheerleader outfits made his mind run a mile a minute. The only person who would get to see us like that would be you, because if you did that and made us show off like that Gary's, then we're gonna have some words. Misty said, a little wet from the thought of being his cheerleader but had no intention of being a ditzy idiot. Why don't we show these three what they'll look like when it's their turns? Naruto asked Misty as he lied on the floor and she got on top of him, her back facing him as she sat on his pee-pee, screaming in pleasure and lust. I can see the outline of his pee-pee as he thrusts inside her, Jessie and Cassidy thought, seeing Misty get F. Wow, Nessa said in amazement, already wanting it to be her turn. Get ready you three, you'll be next, B said, seeing all their hungry looks in their eyes. Ah! Misty said as she screamed in bliss. Naruto put his head underneath her arm and began eating her right BRST and FNDLNG, the left one, as he rubbed her CLT with his free arm. Leak inside, I want it, Misty said beggingly, wanting him to leak deep ins her. I'm about to mermaid. Naruto said as his pee-pee reached deep ins her and he leaked. Misty could only let out and screams of pleasure, feeling his warm juices pour into her body. Naruto gently placed her on the side and the girls looked at his pee-pee and saw it desperately needed attention. B rubbed it with her foot and put her other foot near his face. What lotion do you use on your feet to make them smell so good? Naruto asked. Your juices, B said without a hint of shame in her voice, but seriously, that's a homemade family secret, can't tell you about my foot cream, she said as she sounded like she was being serious. Whatever it is, I like it. Naruto said as he ate her foot. Enough of that F me, B said, dropping onto his pee-pee, feeling it roughly penetrate her peach, making her CLMX from the rough treatment her peach received. You just dropped straight on it, doesn't that hurt? Nessa asked B. Yes, B said to her with tears streaming down her face, but I love it, she said to him. So you're a MSCST, that explains things. Nessa said to mostly herself as she watched Naruto FB as she fingered the former Team Rocket members. Yeah, so get rough, slap my tips and my peach, leave a mark, B said, wanting to feel him get rougher with her as she knew he was much stronger than this. Naruto smirked as he smacked her peach, making it ripple like crazy and making her scream in pleasure with each and every slap, though if I want to really get her fire going, he said to Nessa as he put his arms underneath BEA's legs and put her in a full Nelson, it's like this, he said. It's, my favorite position, F. B said, screaming in joy as Naruto reached her deepest parts and she was fully exposed to the other girls, which honestly excited her. Oh, F, he's gonna leak, she said, feeling his pee-pee twitch inside her. I love to see her face like this. Naruto said with a smile as BEA's eyes rolled into her head and she had AF's stupid face. B then screamed in bliss as she felt him erupt inside her rectum. Me, I wanna be next, Nessa said eagerly, knowing he was gonna ask them who wanted to be next. Go ahead. Naruto said as he placed B beside Misty. First to clean you up. Nessa said as she took his pee-pee into her mouth, tasting juices from Misty and B making her even wetter. You have an peach that belongs on a supermodel, Naruto said, giving it a firm slap, then fondled it for a while. Nessa from the compliment and GRPNG on her peach. I actually am a model, she said to him, but I'll only pose like this for you, she said to him. I'm banging a supermodel, I love my life. Naruto said in joy as he pulled out of her mouth and got her on her back and rubbed his pee-pee against her slit. Go ahead, stud, FA model's pee-pee, Nessa said, knowing this was gonna hurt but didn't really care at that moment. Naruto got down and pulled her into a kiss just as he thrust it into her fully. Nessa's eyes widened in surprise. He feels bigger than he looks, she thought, feeling him stretch out her insides, punching his way into her WMB. Naruto didn't stop, not even to get her a moment to rest, as he just kept thrusting into her. Jessie and Cassidy loudly as they fingered the other, watching Naruto f Nessa. I am living the dream, I got a supermodel as my girlfriend, although ask me, you all look like models. Naruto said to her. You give us attention like models, Nessa said as Naruto tended to them whenever he could, treating them like queens. Naruto leaned down to give her tips some attention as he did and ate on them. Nessa said, unleashing a fierce orgasm, soaking the bed. DMN, you got tight, Naruto said, feeling her wrap around his PP like a vice. You're about to leak, aren't you? I can feel it. Nessa said, feeling his PP twitch ins her. Do it, stuff me, she said, wanting to be filled to the brim. Naruto thrust it as far as he could go as he emptied inside of her. Jessie and Cassidy watched in amazement when a waterfall of juices exited Nessa's PP when Naruto pulled out of her. Both of you are next, Naruto said as he sat up and saw them crawl to him and began to kiss and lick his PP hungrily. The two former members of Team Rocket as he fondled their peaches. I wanna serve him, Jessie and Cassidy thought, not even remembering why they served Team Rocket or where their loyalty to them came from, but now all they wanted to do was serve Naruto, do anything he asked and offer their bodies to him whenever and however he wanted them. The two a bit louder as Naruto smacked their peaches. Here, feel our tips, Jessie said as they began giving him a melon's job. Do you like them? Cassidy asked, desperately wanting to know if they were pleasing him. I love them, Naruto said as he rubbed their heads like pets. The two smiled as they leaned into his touch. Why didn't we join up with you sooner? Jessie said as she was attracted to Naruto when they met, but now she was completely sold. Paint us white with your juices, Cassidy said, desperate to be showered in it. Naruto grunted as he then leaked, showering their tips and faces. The two then ate the juices off of each other, then began making out, trading Naruto's juices as they kissed. The sight made Naruto hard again in an instant. He might just kill us all with that stamina, Jessie and Cassidy thought, looking at Naruto in all his glory. So who first? Naruto asked. Me, let me ride you, you stallion, Jessie asked lustfully. Okay, and Cassidy, I wanna taste you, Naruto said, winking at them as they knew what to do at that moment. Jessie positioned her PP with his PP and as it slowly entered her. Cassidy sat on Naruto's face, feeling his tongue enter her snatch, quickly finding all her spots. Jessie as she bounced on his PP, her melons gyrating as she bounced on his PP, never feeling such pleasure in her life. The two women held each other as they felt pleasure like never before, kissing the other, feeling such incredible heat and lust, pressing and rubbing their tips against the others. The two then screamed against the other's lips as they climaxed. Naruto grunts as he fills Jessie's PP up. He then moves Jessie out of the way as he mounts Cassidy, who's helpless to stop him, and just takes her. He's like an animal in heat, he's not going to stop all of us, she thought, as Naruto wasn't even flaccid. Naruto then kissed her neck as he groped her melons, making her loudly, both of them climaxing together. Ladies, I'm nowhere near done, Naruto said to all the girls. All the girls felt their lower lips moisten as they only had one thought come to their minds: he's gonna kill us, they thought, knowing it be a very pleasurable way to go out. Few days later. DMN. Naruto said as they watched the ship for the mainland leave. Now we have to wait 3 hours for the next one. B said as she hated to wait. I blame you for wanting that quickie, Naruto, Cassidy said, giving Naruto a stern look. Me? You're the one who jumped me. Naruto said to her accusingly, getting a pout in return. Pikachu said, pointing out to the sea, seeing some movement. Hey, it's a Horsia and a lavender tentacle. Misty said as she squinted her eyes to see a lavender tentacle with emeralds instead of the normal red rubies like normal tentacle. That Horsia looks hurt. Nessa said in concern as she immediately jumped in. Does she ever look before she leaps? Misty asked as Nessa seemed to be making a habit of this after the ship. Hey, look, it's making some pictures with ink. B said as the Horsia seemed to be trying to tell them something as it made pictures with ink. If I can get it my pokeball dash, Misty was saying until an explosion was heard as they saw smoke coming from a ship as it began to sink as the crew began to jump off of it. Oh no! B said in worry. Go everybody, Misty said as she sent out, Stereo, Starmie, Goldeen, Whalemare and Chincho to help the sailors. Go Gyarados, help them out, Naruto said as he could carry a lot more. You too Aerokuda, Nessa said letting out her water Pokemon. I'll go get a boat. B said as she didn't have any aquatic Pokemon but still wanted to lend a hand. She got a boat and everybody got on it and headed out. This way, carry them to the boat. Misty said to the water Pokemon. The Pokemon carried the men on their back to the boat or back to land so they could sleep. It's terrible. Terrible, a sailor said in fear. He seems like he's paralyzed. Naruto said as he took out an antidote for that. Hey, what happened out there, dude? B asked the sailor wondering what took out their ship. The boss. I've got to tell the boss what happened. The sailor said. Few minutes later. I'm the boss, Naztina, an elderly woman said to them. The group yelped as they jumped back. I understand that you helped save the men on my ship. Thank you very much. Naztina said in appreciation. Are those guys being paid enough? Everyone thought as this looked a little off to them as her men were just wearing Speedos. Now there's a face only a mo, nah even the mother would take the baby back, Red's Pikachu said making Naruto cover his mouth trying not to laugh. So, ahem, what exactly happened out there? Naruto asked. Those blasted tentacle, I'm trying to make a luxury resort hotel and they keep interfering with the construction. Naztina said angrily. So the tentacle paralyzed your sailors. B said as that didn't sound so bad. Because of them all the tourists have been staying away, I don't know why such despicable creatures even exist. Naztina said. Something's up with this Naruto thought as these water-type Pokemon weren't naturally aggressive not counting a few circumstances. I was hoping you all could help me with my little problem. Do you think you could handle a tentacle extermination project? Naztina asked. Exterminate? Nessa and Misty asked in worriedly. Of course, you'd be paid handsomely. Naztina said as two of her workers opened a curtain, you'll be getting world-class all-you-can-eat luxury dinners for a year, $1 million in cash and vouchers for free stays in my hotel, she said as she gestured to the food, the money and the vouchers in her hands. That's disgusting. Misty shouted making Naztina fall backwards into her four workers as she turned and left. Go to hell, Nessa said having no intention on doing the task. We're already loaded grandma, so you can take your offer and shove it. Naruto said as everyone turned and left. Gur, there's a group that can't be bought. Naztina said angrily. Few minutes later. Why would the groups of tentacle even care about her construction work? B asked. No clue but I feel that lady is hiding something else, Naruto said as he had a bad feeling about her. Yeah, if they're attacking there has to be a logical explanation for it. Misty said. They made their way to the docks where Misty set up a little kiddie pool for the shiny tentacle and Horsia. Igglybuff was on a float in it playing as Misty's EV swam around it all while Pikachu and Kurama relaxed in it drinking orange juice. Feeling better Horsia? Misty asked. That super potion seems to be working. Naruto said. Say, didn't that picture it was drawing look like a tentacle? Jessie asked. Yeah, maybe Horsia was trying to tell us about the tentacle and why that ship got sunk. Nessa said. If that's true, how come this ain't with the others? Cassidy asked. Don't know, all I can tell is that this guy is really young. Naruto said as the shiny tentacle looked to not be that old. Citizens of Porta Vista, listen up. Nastina's voice came from the city's PA system. Nastina. Naruto said wondering what she was gonna pull. What's that hag up to now? Meowth asked. Effective immediately, I am recruiting volunteers to exterminate the tentacle terrorizing our town. I will award $1 million to anyone who can exterminate the tentacle. Isn't Naztina generous? Naztina said over the PA. She'll do anything to destroy them. B said, knowing a lot of people would jump at that chance. Anyone who wants money, wants to help the development of our town, come to the yacht harbor immediately. Naztina said, a lot of people heading harbor. Move, Naruto said to everyone to avoid getting trampled by the crowd. Then they saw Naztina roll up to the crowd wearing a military-like outfit and a tank. Alright, who here is going to win the $1 million reward? She asked the crowd over a megaphone. But first, a little trial run for my tentacle special-made stun sauce, she said as her workers held up a container with a picture of tentacle with X's over its eyes. We gotta stop this immediately, Misty said. Why are the tentacle so intent on stopping her anyway? Cassidy asked. Let me ask Horsia and Tentacle. Red's Pikachu said as he talked to the Horsia in Misty's hands and the tentacle on top of Naruto's head. His cheeks sparked slightly from anger from what he was told by the Pokemon. What's up? Naruto asked, seeing the spark. The reason why they're trying to stop her is because her hotel being constructed is right on top of their coral reef. If she makes it, it'll destroy their homes. Red's Pikachu said, which Naruto then told the others. That's illegal, you can't mess with the habitat of a Pokemon, Misty said, as it was against environmental protocols. Suddenly everyone saw a huge flash of light near the constructed hotel as a boat went out and accidentally dropped the whole container of so-called stun sauce, which didn't stun them. It made a tentacle evolve into a gigantic tentacruel which then destroyed the construction site of the hotel. Tentacle. Tentacle said, seeing the big tentacruel. Huh, that's your dad? Red's Pikachu asked in surprise. Incoming tidal wave. Nessa said as the giant tentacruel was heading this way, which was making a tidal wave come with it along with the other tentacle. As much as they are in the right, I gotta stop this, Naruto said as he wasn't gonna let all these people die. We gotta get to higher ground before that wave hits us. Red's Pikachu said. SHT, how do we stop that thing? B asked Naruto as stuff would happen. I could Dynamax Dreadnought. Nessa said as Dynamax Pokemon are pretty much the same size as what Tentacruel became. It's our best bet, go for it, Naruto said as they needed to stop that. Me and Gyarados will go and try and slow that thing down, he said as Tentacruel was still on its way. Our Pokemon can probably get these people out of here, Jessie said as she and Cassie got to work. Come on Lucario, Naruto said as it came atop of Gyarados. Okay, everybody protect the people, he said to all of the Pokemon. You two ready? Cause I'm gonna be honest, this plan I have is kinda crazy, he said to his two Pokemon getting in the water. Gyarados grins, as does Lucario, who gives him a thumbs up. Well, we're all either crazy, stupid, or straight up insane. Let's do it, Naruto said as he laughed, and they literally went through the wave. Tentacle said sadly, watching as its fellow tentacle attacked the city as everyone fought back to protect the city. You're too young to understand any of this. Red's Pikachu said to it. Okay, get his attention. Naruto said to his two Pokemon. Gyarados blasted it with as much power as it had. Lucario launched a dozen aura spheres at it. And nada, that did nothing, Naruto said as Gyarados didn't do much damage as water types didn't suffer much damage from water attacks. Attacking ain't doing SHT, let's see if we can calm it down. Into the air, Gyarados, we gotta get somewhere where it can see us, he said. Gyarados left the water and got into the air above the rooftops as Naruto and Lucario jumped off of it and landed on one of the rooftops. Okay, how do I calm you down? Naruto asked. Use your aura. Red's Pikachu said from another rooftop. My what? Naruto asked him. You and Lucario possess aura life energy you two can manipulate. We all possess it but only few can use it, Red's Pikachu said to him. You wanna give it a shot, bud, cause otherwise we're sleeping with the fishes, Naruto asked Lucario. Lucario nodded. Okay, time to Mega Evolve. Naruto said as he pressed his keystone, which reacted to the Lucarionite around Lucario's neck, causing it to Mega Evolve. They both closed their eyes and focused, having a faint blue glow surround them. Whoa, I feel like I just drank 100 energy drinks. Naruto thought, feeling an incredible rush flow through his body. Welcome to the world of aura, father. Lucario mentally said to him. I can hear you in my head, Naruto thought, thinking that was cool and freaky. We're linked through our aura. Lucario mentally said to him, explain it. Let's show this guy what we can do. Naruto thought with a smirk. The two opened their eyes, showing that they too were glowing. Tentacruel stopped as it glowed with a blue flame like aura, but wasn't in pain and felt at peace, feeling it envelop his body. Tentacruel, none of us wanted to destroy your home. Naruto said to him, not wanting him to harm people who didn't deserve it. The only one who wanted to was her. It was her resort she was trying to make. So if you want to punish someone, punish her, he said, pointing at Naztina. Tentacruel and the tentacle turned to look at Naztina. Naztina screamed as Tentacruel's tentacle came down on her, squishing her. Yeah, you didn't need to see that. Red's Pikachu said as he covered Tentacle's eyes with his hands and Igglybuff's with his tail. Yeah, that may have been a little much, Naruto said, seeing the Pokemon submerge as it shrunk back to normal. Naruto blanched as Tentacle went back on his head as Horsia bounced over to Misty. Few weeks later. All that to get to Saffron, and you're gonna skip it? B asked him. I told you, I need some ghost types, and besides, according to rumors, her Abra evolved into a Kadabra. Naruto said as Kadabra was a strong psychic type. So what ghost Pokemon specifically? B asked as there were only a few in this region. A Haunter maybe, or a Jengar if I'm lucky, Naruto said as those were always pretty fun. So where are we going now? Misty asked. Lavender Town, if you want a ghost type, according to rumors that's the place to go, Nessa said as ghost types were frequent around that town. Alright then. B said, ready to go. Few hours later. This place is trashed, B said, looking at an abandoned tower. Ghost types are like actual ghosts, they like places they can haunt, Misty said to her. But they can't resist these, Naruto said, holding a box of gags. Why? They all asked him. The Ghastly Evolution line is known for their pranks, so they'd naturally come to another prankster like me. Naruto said with a grin. Will that work? B asked curiously and soon jumped as she heard ghost-like sounds. Yeah, you should have been there for all the pranks on Gary I pulled with this shiny Ghastly. It was injured and so I helped get it back to health. But when Gary started picking on me, it started pranking the hell out of him, then he joined up with me and we did pranks together, Naruto said to them, laughing a little. Red's Pikachu was upset to learn Naruto was picked on as a kid but doesn't know why it bothers him so much. Unknown to them, they were being watched from inside the tower as two pairs of eyes look at them laughing while another just stares at Naruto. I got a bad feeling, Nessa said, getting a chill up her spine. We get bad feelings everywhere we go, let's go. Naruto said as he pushed everyone into the tower. Should we really be in here at night? Misty asked, feeling a little terrified. I don't think ghost types really come out during the day. Naruto said as most ghost types were nocturnal. I'd get one if there was a ghost and fighting type. B said to them. There's only one like that, Marshadao, and it's a legendary, so I wouldn't get my hopes up. Naruto said as that'd be a 1 in a million chance, as ghost types were elusive as well as legendaries. Those two things together made it very unlikely. Well, I'd kill for some light. Jessie said before a light went on. Thank you, Charizard, she said. Charizard isn't out of his Pokeball, Naruto said as he and Cassidy didn't release their Charizards. They all looked up a staircase to see a floating fireball go down a corridor. Isn't there a ghost fire type Litwick? Naruto asked them, seeing a candle-like form in the flame. Litwick, the candle Pokemon. The flame on its head keeps its body slightly warm. This Pokemon takes lost children by the hand to guide them to the spirit world, the Pokédex said to them. Scared even more now. Misty said, not wanting to die yet. Come on, we gotta get it, or at least see if it'll lead us to more ghost types, Naruto said as he was unafraid of living his life. They followed the flame to a dining room where they found a rope that said, pull me. Okay. Naruto said, pulling it, making a ball open up, causing a welcome sign to unravel with confetti coming down. Okay, who's welcoming us? If a ghost man shows up, I am so out of here. Jessie said as she was terrified. Suddenly the plates and silverware on the table began to lift and get tossed at them, making them run out of the room. As they ran away, a lighter shaded Jengar and a regular Haunter and Ghastly appeared, laughing at them. Few seconds later. I am not going back in there, it's too scary. Cassidy said, shivering in fear. Oh please, they're harmless, Naruto said as he got licked by Haunter. Ah! They all said as the ghost trio appeared in front of them. Although this Haunter could use a breath mint. Naruto said as he rubbed his face. Haunter. Haunter said as it breathed in Ghastly's face, who got X's in its eyes before dropping to the ground. The Ghastly, Haunter and Grey Jengar then laughed. That laugh, I've heard it before. Naruto said, referring to Jengar's laugh. Jengar said as it spun and struck a pose holding two fingers like a V. V for victory. Ghastly. Are you the Ghastly that pulled pranks with me as a kid? Naruto asked. Jengar laughed with a big grin on its face as it nodded. Jengar, it called out. A mischievous, a female Frillish and a shiny Litwick walked out of the house. Ah, they're so cute. Misty said, seeing them from a new perspective. Mischievous, the Screech Pokemon. It will use any means necessary to frighten people and absorb their life energy. It practices constantly to hone its skill in causing fear. Frillish, the floating Pokemon. It envelopes its prey in its veil-like arms and draws it down to the depths, 5 miles below the ocean's surface. This Pokemon's appearance varies upon its gender. Naruto's Pokédex said. Do all ghost types have creepy things on the Pokédex? B asked him curiously. Well, not all information sounds good, Naruto said. You were planning a big prank to say hi, weren't you? He asked Jengar, who tried to play innocent. Jengar said with a grin. Litwick. Litwick said as it hugged Naruto's foot softly. Hello. Nessa said to Frillish, who then sat on her head. Hello, cutie. Misty said to the lady-looking ghost. Coo, came from the tower. The ghost types all ran back into the tower with Jengar gesturing for them to follow. Few minutes later. Ghastly, Haunter and Jengar brought them to a room filled with toys, and in the middle was a little cub one that Haunter was hugging, and in the corner a Pokemon egg. A cub one? Naruto asked curiously. Jengar said to them, sounding sad. Having a nightmare about what? Red's Pikachu asked it before gasping at what Jengar told it. What? Naruto asked, wondering what was causing the Pokemon to feel fear. This cub one was orphaned because Team Rocket killed its mother for its skull, as Marowak skulls are worth a fortune on the black market. Red's Pikachu said. I hate Team Rocket even more. Naruto said angrily, as Jessie and Cassidy felt real bad now for being a part of that organization. What Pokemon laid this egg? B asked, as it seemed a little odd. Jengar says he doesn't know, it just showed up one day, Naruto said as Red's Pikachu translated for him. I'm keeping it, don't want to leave here empty-handed. B said as she was the only one not to get a Pokemon, and this was better than nothing. Well, Jengar and Litwick are coming with, but I guess I can take care of this cub one, or at least my mom can. Sorry little guy, but you got a little bit more growing to do before you can go into any battles. Naruto said as he rubbed Cubone's head. Haunter. Haunter said to him firmly. You want to come with? Why? Naruto asked, wondering what it wanted to do. He says he has some kind of mission to do. Red's Pikachu said, not understanding what it meant. Well, now that we all have ghost types, next stop Saffron City and my 4th gym badge, Naruto said. Few hours later. What's with gym leaders having big as hell gyms? Naruto asked, as he knew for the area it had to be big, but this was a little much. Well, it is a psychic type gym. I've also heard this is where other psychics can go to train and hone their abilities as well. Nessa said as this place was famous. Well, it's nothing me and Jengar can't handle. Naruto said as Jengar grinned and chuckled. Haunter, Hound. Haunter said as it waved a banner with Jengar's face on it. Litwick. Litwick said as it smiled and held a little flag with Jengar's face on it, as did Cubone. That is so cute. Misty said, finding it adorable. Where'd they get those from anyway? B asked, wondering how and when they could make them. I don't know, but let's go. Naruto said, choosing not to question it as he went through the doors only to walk into a bearded man. You shouldn't battle Sabrina. The man said to them. I don't run away, buddy. Naruto said. She is a very powerful psychic, if you lose she will turn you and your friends into dolls. The man said. I don't know about a doll, as I see myself as being an action figure. I came here for a marsh badge, and I'm not leaving here without one, pal. Naruto said, undeterred and unafraid. But the man was saying. Buddy, why are you so determined to stop him from battling her anyway? What's Sabrina to you? B asked, wondering what caused the man to seem so terrified of her. Well, the man was trying to say as he stammered. If you're not gonna tell us, then don't waste our time. Jessie said as this felt like a scam, and she pulled enough to know this was fishy. Something's up here, Naruto said as this was definitely odd. Pics. Jengar, Pikachu and Kurama leered at the man, making him sweat nervously. Okay. She's my daughter. The man said. And the point where we care is? Cassidy asked, wondering what this was, as this was very odd. She turned her own mother into a doll. Sabrina's father said to them sadly. Okay, this is a first, Naruto said as he had heard of people having Pokemon-like abilities through the ages, but in this day and age it was thought to be a myth. You see, as she was training with her psychic powers, she eventually became so great it was incredible, but it caused a problem. It caused her personality to split in half. Sabrina's father said. And that's when SHT hit the fan. Naruto said as that sounded like insanity, or at the very least instability. Yes, and this is why people steer clear of the Saffron City gym, in fear of facing her and losing and becoming a doll, the father said to him, and soon saw Naruto kept walking. You still intend to fight her? He asked in shock. Naruto Uzumaki Ketchum isn't afraid of anybody. No matter the challenge, I'll face it head on. Don't worry, I'll help Sabrina turn back to normal, I promise. Naruto said, not even looking back. Ketchum's never back down. Let's go, kid, Red's Pikachu said as he stood right next to Naruto. Did someone forget to pay the electric bill? B asked as there was no lights on. Suddenly a little girl's laughter filled the darkness. That's not creepy at all. Misty said sarcastically. It's music to their ears, Naruto said, referring to the ghost-type Pokemon. Suddenly the lights came on and in a chair sat a green-haired woman with a doll in her lap. She has high D cups, nice juicy and a round peach. Hi there, have you come to play with me? The doll asked. Oh no, I came to win, Naruto said. Did you really? Sabrina asked, not showing any emotion in her voice. You better believe it, baby. Naruto said with a wink, getting no response. Let us begin, Sabrina said neutrally. Go Jengar, Naruto said, wanting to start off strong. Jengar marched forward with a smirk before it tripped on the ground, face planting, but then got up like it was nothing. Haunter, Cubone, and Litwick laughed at that, as did Naruto. Go Kadabra. Sabrina said, throwing out her Pokemon. Jengar blinked as it saw the Pokemon before bursting into laughter, pointing at it. I swear, even evolved, your laughs are contagious. Naruto said to his Pokemon, laughing so hard he let out tears. Kadabra? Kadabra said in confusion as it couldn't tell what was so funny. Sucker punch, Naruto said as Gengar took the opportunity to hit him. Kadabra took steps back from the hit before blinking, still hearing Jengar laughing. Why does it continue to laugh? Sabrina asked, wondering what it found so humorous. As a ghastly, all it would do is laugh, as that was its favorite thing to do. Naruto said as he stopped laughing to catch his breath. Use curse buddy, he said as that attack was a bit random at times for how many times it would hit. Jengar glowed as a see-through nail struck it before a nail struck Kadabra. Now recover. Naruto said to him, learning all of Ganger's moves before they got here. Jengar glowed green as it healed. So both of our Pokemon know recover. Sabrina said to him. Thanks for letting me know that, Jengar use imprison. Naruto said, wanting to stop her as imprison shut down the opponent's moves that the user knew. Why isn't she attacking? Jessie asked, not seeing Kadabra make a move. I think it has been, Misty said as Kadabra seemed to be using long-range attacks that gave a Pokemon insight like insight, growl, and scary face, except what she was doing was looking for weaknesses. Now it's just a waiting game, Naruto said as now Kadabra couldn't heal as curse would slowly take away its heal bit by bit, so unless Sabrina had a good plan it can't win. You big cheater, the doll said angrily. Kadabra growled as it began glowing before it became a alakazam. Jengar blinked before bursting into laughter again, smacking the ground as it looked at alakazam. This just got worse, Naruto thought, knowing not to tempt fate when a newly evolved Pokemon came to the field. Alakazam's eyes glowed as it fires beams from its spoons. Jengar seemed to be dancing its way around the beams as if playing a game. SHT, it's adapting, Naruto thought as the alakazam began getting closer and closer hits. Your Jengar will fall, Sabrina said to him. Oh yeah, Jengar use lick, Naruto said to his Pokemon. Jengar's tongue shot out like a cartoon character's and licked alakazam's face, making it shiver in disgust as Sabrina shivered too. That's it, you're telepathically linked to this Pokemon, what it feels you feel. Naruto said to her in surprise. And what they know I know and vice versa, Sabrina said to him. SHT, this was never about beating Jengar, it was about learning about it. She used all those attacks to gauge its limits. Naruto thought that was genius. Alakazam launched a shadow ball at Jengar, who laughed as it sunk into its shadow. Chasm. Alakazam said as it looked around for the Pokemon, only hearing Jengar's laughter echo off the battlefield's walls. Alakazam used Destiny Bond, Sabrina said to her Pokemon. Oh SHT, I know that attack, Naruto thought as that was trouble. Kazam. Alakazam said as it glowed, but the glow stopped as soon as it started. Did you really think I wouldn't be ready for that? Jengar knows Destiny Bond, and due to imprison, your Pokemon can't use it, Naruto said. Now come on Jengar, Phantom Force, he said. Red eyes came out of Alakazam's shadow as Jengar came out of it and uppercut Alakazam. Hey, where'd Haunter go? Misty asked as the only ones there were Cubone and Litwick waving their small flags. Haunter appeared on Sabrina's side of the field. Hey, 2-on-1 is cheating. The doll said as that was against the rules. He's not my Pokemon, so that rule doesn't really apply, gorgeous. Naruto said to her. For the slightest moment Sabrina had a blush on her face, his comments finally getting through, making him smile. Haunter laughed as it began making silly faces at Sabrina before pulling a bomb out of its mouth which blew up, covering them both, charred, making Sabrina laugh like Jengar was making even Alakazam laugh, as everyone soon began to laugh like idiots. With Alakazam unable to continue, the winner is Naruto of Pallet Town. Sabrina's father said. Aw man, I wanted some more action, Naruto said, pouting a bit. Never satisfied, Misty said, meaning that for multiple things. Pikachu and Kurama patted his shoulders. Hello dear. Sabrina's mother said as she came down the steps. Everyone saw the little doll Sabrina had faded away, dropping Alakazam's Pokeball. Let's step outside, Naruto said as he felt this should have been between family. Few minutes later. Here's your marsh badge, Naruto. Sabrina said, giving it to him. Thanks, appealing. Naruto said with his signature grin and a wink. Go with them, a voice said in Sabrina's mind. Be calm child, I am not here to harm you, I am here to guide you, the voice said to her. Looks like Haunter wants to stick with you. B said, seeing the Pokemon cuddle up to her. Sabrina was brought out of her thoughts and caught it. Do you care if I travel with you? she asked Naruto, deciding to listen. The more the merrier with me, B said, getting elbowed by Naruto. Not that I mind, but what will become of your gym? Naruto asked her. I guess I'll take over again, the father said to them. You're a psychic too? Cassidy asked, finding that a bit odd. Yes, and so is my mother. How'd you think my powers were so strong? Sabrina said with a chuckle. There is more to being a psychic than seeing inside a person's mind and predicting outcomes. It's seeing what is deep within a person for who they are, the voice said. Sabrina didn't know why, but she trusted the voice, but also felt power in it, something old but something new as well, and despite the distance she knew it was far away from this location. Red's Pikachu didn't know why, but he felt something familiar wash over his body. What was that? He thought as he felt it around Sabrina. With Professor Oak. We see the good professor sitting and drinking tea before Naruto's Krabby brought him the video phone. Thank you, Krabby, he said as he placed the screen down and picked up the phone as Naruto's face came on the screen, also holding a phone. Good morning, Professor. Ah, they wanna say hi too. Naruto said as his Pokemon tried butting into the screen. Krabby snapped with joy seeing Naruto. Ah, Naruto, I was wondering when you were gonna call. Krabby's pleased to see you too. What news have you got for me? Professor Oak asked as he felt this wasn't a social call. Check it out. Naruto said, showing him his badges. Professor Oak coughed as patted his chest, nearly choking on his donut. You beat Sabrina, he said, knowing about that particular gym leader. Yeah, it wasn't easy, let me tell you. Naruto said to him in all honesty. Gary and the other trainers skipped her gym. Professor Oak said, his Wartortle totally got demolished by her Kadabra, he said. It's actually an Alakazam now, it evolved when we fought. Naruto said to him. That Pokemon seems to evolve fast, Professor Oak said, as it seemed that psychic Pokemon always grew fast. Yeah, but when you consider their psychic link, it makes sense. Naruto said, thinking Sabrina might have increased the power of certain psychic Pokemon, increasing their chances of evolution. True, listen, I heard that Gary and the other trainers have already passed Celadon City, so you may want to speed it up if you want to catch up. Gary's already caught at least 20 more Pokemon than you. Professor Oak said. 1. He has a car, 2. They left before I did, and 3. I actually prefer quality over quantity, as unlike me Gary seems to just catch every Pokemon he looks at. Naruto said to him. How did you know that? Are you a psychic? Professor Oak asked. No, but I know one, Naruto said, laughing at the irony. Yes, I see, it's funny how this rivalry goes to Gary's head and yet you do not seem to care. Professor Oak said. He wants to prove he's better because I know more about Pokemon than he does, and because he's your grandson it just gives him an inflated ego. Naruto said to him as Gary's ego was as big as a Warlord. Well, I gotta go, tea's getting cold, have fun and catch more Pokemon. Professor Oak said as Krabby waved goodbye before Naruto and Professor Oak hung up. With Naruto. Catch more Pokemon, I'll catch what I want to catch. Naruto said. Vulpix, Pix. Kurama said in agreement. Pikachu. Pikachu said to him. Yeah, it would feel nice to stick it to Gary by catching more Pokemon than him. Naruto said, I can just imagine his face, just imagine his reaction when he sees just what I caught compared to his, he said as he and his Pokemon shared a laugh. Just wait until the Safari Zone, Red's Pikachu said as there were many wild Pokemon there. Better call them, Naruto said to himself as he needed to call someone else. Hey, how you three doing? He asked, currently on the line with Meowth as he and Jessie and Cassidy were looking at an old building. Abandoned base, Meowth said as he was eating a fish. Call Officer Jenny then, Naruto said as he was keeping all the Jennies in the loop, then hanged up. Hey Naruto, come and try BEA's rice ball. Nessa said, liking them very much for the sea salt. Well, Oak talked about how Gary and the others have 5 badges. When do you think he'll understand that I don't care what the others or Gary have done? Naruto said as he made his way over to them. He's a grandfather talking about his grandson, so he's gotta give him some praise, right? Misty said. Yeah, but all that praise is probably what made his Y-Lord-sized ego in the first place. Naruto said. Pikachu and Vulpix's ear twitched as they looked at the bushes and saw a mankey stick its head out. Hey, a mankey. Naruto said as he watched the Pokemon hop over to them smelling the rice ball be made. Here, want one? Bee asked as she handed one to it. The mankey took it and hopped over to the top of a rock and ate it. This one looks real tough. Bee said happily wanting to catch it. Careful, I've read that mankeys have one hell of a temper. Naruto said as it was almost as bad as Psyduck's when it became too stressed. At least let it finish eating first. How'd you feel if someone interrupted your meal? Misty asked. No comment, Naruto said as he had done a lot to people that got between him and his ramen. If it's a fighting type or a Pokemon I want, I'm getting it and nobody's gonna stop me, Bee said as she threw a pokeball at it only for it to throw the rice ball at it making it go inside the pokeball. How did it go into the thing? Sabrina asked as a pokeball was made to catch Pokemon, so how did a rice ball go in? The mankey then jumped down from its rock looking pissed. Professor Oak said that when a mankey looks like that it's gonna use its thrash attack. Naruto said as that attack was like pummeling someone, it was wild and erratic. Mankey screeched as it charged at them yelling at Bee. Wow, this one has a filthy mouth. Red's Pikachu said as it felt like covering his ears from what he heard as it was very profound. Do I even want to know? Naruto asked curiously. It's mad she tried to catch out without fighting at first. It called her a punk as, Red's Pikachu said, hoping Bee didn't turn her anger on him for relaying the message. Naruto snorts, it sounds like you Bee, he said. Like hell. Bee screamed. Everyone ran and watched as the mankey practically ran over everyone before tackling Bee and began to beat her up before it ran up a tree holding her bow. Hey, where's my charm? Naruto said as he felt his shirt but couldn't feel it. You, Bee said angrily as she glared at the mankey as it didn't just steal her hairband, it stole Naruto's charm that had his key stone in it. We can get you another hairband, but another shiny charm like that may be harder. Misty said. My mother gave me that hairband, give it back. Bee said in rage. Mankey chittered mockingly as it did some kicks like she does. Wow, this one has a mouth on it. Red's Pikachu said. Ooh, when I get my hands on you. Bee said wanting to rip it apart for mocking at her and making comments about her. You overgrown DMN furball, give me back my charm before I feed you your DMN tail. Naruto said furiously. Mankey beats its chest like it's saying bring it. That's it. Bee shouted as she kicked the tree making Mankey shake as it then held on to the tree. Wonder which will give, Nessa said thinking out loud. Her or the mankey? Misty asked her curiously. I mean that tree, Nessa said as she could swear she heard a cracking sound. Mankey finally couldn't handle the shaking as it then fell out of the tree hitting its head on the road. I'll take that. Naruto said taking his charm back. OSHT, he said as he looked back to see Mankey getting back up, but its eyes were glowing white as it growled before glowing and beginning to grow, and as it did it punched Naruto in the face. Oh sucker punch, Misty said as that attack was not a pleasant attack for the receiver. They all looked as Mankey had now become a primeape. Kurama and Pikachu growled at primeape, angry that it had attacked Naruto like that. Come on, again. Naruto said as the primeape stole his charm again, being mad about Bee not fighting you one-on-one with her Pokemon is understandable, but this is ridiculous, he said. Okay, you wanna fight, then let's go, round goddamn 2. Bee said tackling the Pokemon. Rogue. Her 2 Tyrogue said as they jumped into the battle as well. Okay, this is getting ridiculous on a whole other level. Sabrina said to the others. I ain't stopping until I get my hairband back, Naruto's charm back and catching this thing. Bee said wanting to beat this thing with her own hands. I don't know who has the harder head, me, her or that primeape. Naruto said as this was both sad and entertaining to watch. They watch as Bee gets flung out of the pile landing upside down against a rock. Should we be worried? Misty asked the others. It's B. Naruto and Nessa said together. They then watch as BEA's tyrogues get flung in a similar way and land on both sides of her. You B said as she got up and glared at the primeape. Primeape snickered and growled. Ah, it just said takes one to know one's sister. Red's Pikachu said. It's a girl. Misty yelled out in surprise, getting a glare from the Pokemon. Might wanna back away, Naruto said as he knew there was a lot of Pokemon that had a more masculine or feminine appearance, but when not being seen as their true gender they took offense. BEA's tyrogues growled as they got back up before shouting as they began to glow. That's it. B said, blocking a jab from the primeape. Chan/Lee, the newly evolved Pokemon shouted as in their place was a Hitmonchan and Hitmonlee. Hey B, wanna know something funny? Both these Pokemon know close combat. B said to Primeape as her Pokemon did that attack and sent it flying while also holding BEA's hairband and Naruto's charm. Alright, go Pokeball, she said as she threw a Pokeball at it, sucking it into it. Everyone watched as the Pokeball swayed back and forth before it burst out. Here, try an Ultra Ball. Naruto said as he used these rarely as they were for Pokemon who were really strong. You got these? B asked as these were expensive to get. What, you expect me to just use regular Pokeballs all the time? Regular ones are good but they don't cut it all the time, that's why it helps to have different kinds of Pokeballs for different types of situations. Naruto said as sometimes you had to use different kinds of Pokeballs so you can have the advantage when catching a Pokemon. Are you sure you're not related to Professor Oak, because you sure are smart? B said, taking it. I learned everything I could from him, and books and TV and other things. Naruto said. Okay, 2 times the charm. B said as she threw the Ultra Ball at Primeape and soon caught it. Oh yeah, she said, jumping for joy with Hitmonchan and Hitmonlee. You may wanna cover all that, Naruto said as Bree looked like she had been in a cage match while also living off the land with bruises, cut and damaged clothing. Guess, I overdid it huh? B said as she put her hairband back on and gave Naruto his shiny charm back. Oh yeah. Naruto said as this was overkill to the highest degree. Hey look, Celadon City dead ahead, Nessa said, seeing it a few minutes away. Guess Primeape chasing us really got us moving. Misty said as they resumed walking. So what Pokemon for this gym? Nessa asked as grass beat water. Well, I have Charizard, Charmander, Spearow, Pidgeotto, Houndour and Growlithe, Naruto said. So you're just gonna use type advantage? B asked as that was smart. Well, I like a challenge but that doesn't mean I can expect things to go just like that. Knowing a grass-type gym, they probably have ways of dealing with fire or flying types. Besides, Charmander and the others need battles and Growlithe could use a confidence boost. Naruto said as the dog-type Pokemon was still a little skittish and he wanted to try pushing it a little forward as it wants to get stronger. 20 minutes later. Whoa! Naruto said as he looked at the tall buildings in Celadon. What's the matter, never been to any big cities? B asked. Not really, I never left Pallet before leaving on my journey. Everything I've seen and learned have all been from books and things on TV. Naruto said as the area by Pallet Town was rather simple. I smell perfume. Misty said the scent caught her attention. Don't you think it smells good, Naruto? Naruto, she asked, seeing he was gone. Where'd he go? B asked, holding her nose as she had a sensitive sense of smell and some perfumes were just too much for her. They looked down the street to see him enter the perfume shop. Sweet scent, Naruto thought as it was a move grass types and other Pokemon knew as it attracted Pokemon to them, works on humans too, he thought, as that move affected the human senses as well. The girls all watch as they see him grab a bottle and give it a few sprays. What do you think? He asked Pikachu and Kurama. They sniff it before blanching as they held their nose. Too strong, that's not it. Naruto said as he put it back as this smelled like bait for Pokemon. What are you doing? Misty asked curiously, wondering why Naruto was interested in perfume. My mom's birthday is coming up and I want to get her a perfume that brings out her natural scent. Naruto said looking at the bottles. Oh, I was wondering why you were coming in here, as my dad says all perfume doesn't give people reasons to waste their money and turns men into zombies. B said still holding her nose as she preferred being herself anyway, rarely having a reason to use the stuff. Sensitive nose, huh? Naruto said as B nodded. It's why my parents don't get perfumes, as one strong whiff can knock me out. B said, oh great, she said, seeing the workers fangirl over Nessa. Can we help you? Men don't come in here so often. One of the workers asked Naruto as some came over to him. Yeah, I'm looking for something for my mom, Naruto said, getting some ahs from the female workers. As they talked, Red's Pikachu was looking through bottles before grabbing a green one, before getting grabbed himself by a woman wearing a kimono. Is this your Pikachu? The woman asked. My dad's, but I'm watching him, Naruto said to her. Here. I think he was grabbing it for you. I'm Erika. Erika said, introducing herself. She had mid-D cups and a plump peach. I know you, you're the gym leader, you own a perfume store. Naruto asked, as he didn't remember seeing that when he looked up the information about the gyms, but it made an odd amount of sense. Yes, I make all the perfumes you see right in the gym. Erika said to them. Try this out. Red's Pikachu said as he handed him the green bottle. Naruto sprayed it and he, Kurama and Pikachu sniffed it before sighing happily. That's the one, he said with a smile. I wanna kill them, B said as she saw all the female workers stare at Naruto with hearts in their eyes. Get in line, worse for me since I can actually hear their thoughts, Sabrina said as she heard their thoughts. Knowing women like them, they wouldn't last 10 minutes, Misty said, snickering as Naruto would destroy them in an instant. Are you okay? Erika asked B, seeing her covering her nose. Yeah, I just have a sensitive sense of smell. B said as she was being a little overwhelmed at the moment. Alright, Erika, I challenge you to a gym battle. Naruto said with a grin. Challenge accepted, Erika said happily. Phew. Minutes later. We sure this is a gym and not a greenhouse? Misty asked as it was very warm and the air was very pure. Bulbasaur sure seems to like it. Naruto said, seeing the plant/animal Pokemon sigh happily. Huh, he said, getting a message through his Pokédex. Sorry, forgot to mention your Spearow and Houndour had evolved, signed Professor Oak. I swear sometimes he'd forget his own head if it wasn't attached, he said, blanching. Nice to know your Pokemon are training at the professor's ranch. Sabrina said as she knew Naruto's Pokemon trained vigorously. Yeah, we never stop training because there's always time to get stronger. Naruto said as Kurama and Pikachu cheered at that. What's with all the Girl Scouts? B asked, seeing the girls had red askets, short sleeves and shorts. No clue, but better than what my sisters were doing, Misty said as she was the only one to take that job seriously. Is this a gym or a daycare? What's with all the Pokemon? Naruto asked, seeing tons of grass-type Pokemon around the gym with other female workers. It's all part of the perfume process and it's also where I care for them. Erika said, looking down, seeing a gloom approach them. None of it would be possible without this gloom, she said, hugging it. And the internet just says you're just a pretty face. Naruto said with a chuckle, making her blush. I'm also a Pokemon therapist, I help Pokemon that have problems. Erika said proudly. Think you can help my Growlithe? See, he came from an abusive trainer, he's better but still a little skittish. Naruto said, jumping at the opportunity immediately as he knew he was good at a lot but knew when to ask for help. Can you help my Combusken not peck me so much? B asked jokingly. Naruto let Growlithe out of his Pokeball and everyone watched as it seemed to back off before running behind Naruto's legs. See? He gets like this around strangers or with crowds, he said, but a small part of him felt happy that Growlithe ran to him for protection. Erika was pissed as Growlithes are usually so happy and fun-loving, so to see it in this state was something that really ticked her off so much. One could see a tick mark and a BLD vessel twitch on the girl that seemed to happy. Gloom. Gloom said, walking over to Growlithe before releasing a wave of scent. Gak. B said as she fell over while the others enjoyed the smell. The scent seemed to calm Growlithe down before the dog Pokemon went stiff seeing Erika in front of it, showing it the back of her hand. "It's okay, I won't hurt you," Erika said as she petted Growlithe's head. "Wow, Growlithe usually only lets me pet him, let alone touch him," Naruto said, very impressed. "Well, I've found that Gloom's sweet scent can calm just about any Pokemon, so when one comes in like your Growlithe, she'll release it to calm them down before I do anything," Erika said, informing him on what she was doing. "Calms Pokemon, can knock them out with its scent, and I bet it can be made to make your perfume. This Gloom sure is special," Naruto said, rubbing Gloom's head, making the Pokemon let out a smile and as it drooled some more. "I'll look at your Growlithe some more after our battle," Erika said as she was able to look after a trainer's Pokemon for them. "I'd like that, sweet thing," Naruto said with a chuckle. "You realize you have 5 Pokemon now?" Sabrina said to him, wanting him to know of the numerical advantage. "So, it makes this a challenge," Naruto said. "Besides, my gym does 3-on-3 battles," Erika said to him. "Well, that'd be fun," Naruto said as he picked Charizard, Kurama, and Houndoom. "How good are his chances?" Misty asked the others. "Depends on who you ask. Erika has home field advantage," Sabrina said, as gyms were made to fit the standard type of Pokemon that Gym had, and to add insult to injury, the fights were on their terms. "And should we help her?" Misty asked as Bee was still knocked out from getting a whiff of Gloom's scent. "Probably," Sabrina said as she found this very funny. Misty watched as her Igglybuff poked Bea's face before running behind her as Bee jumped back up. "How long was I out?" Bee asked. "If I wanted to be knocked out, I'd let Naruto use me like a cheapware," she said. The workers that hurt her gained a atomic level blush, with some passing out with nosebleeds. "Come on, Naruto's about to battle Erika," Sabrina said, dragging her off with her and Misty to the observation area. "He's starting off strong," Bee said as she saw Charizard out and about and saw Erika's Weepinbell getting ready. "Okay, Charizard, use Slash," Naruto said to his Pokemon as Charizard smacked Weepinbell aside. "He has a fire type, why the hell isn't he using flame attacks?" Bee asked as Charizard could level this place to the ground. "Because it'd be too easy," Sabrina said as she could feel it. Both Naruto and Erika had a mutual respect for the other using his flame-like abilities. Naruto felt like he was cheating or sullying that respect. "Weepinbell, use Razor Leaf," Erika said. "Cut it up with Dragon Claw," Naruto said as Charizard did so immediately. "Now use Dragon Rage," he said, as that was a powerful dragon move. But Charizard unleashed green-like flames that knocked Weepinbell out. "Whoa, you learned Dragon Breath," Naruto said, impressed, as that was a step up from Dragon Rage. "Weepinbell's knocked out," Sabrina said, seeing Erika send out a Tangela and Naruto sent out Kurama. "Okay, Kurama, use Dark Pulse," Naruto said, as Kurama knew that move and a lot of other powerful dark moves. "Dodge it and use Poison Powder," Erika said. DM and Naruto thought, always hating those moves, that attack is strong. He thought, pissed that he didn't bring any antidote. "Kurama, use Facade," he said, taking advantage of Kurama's poison state. Kurama charged, glowing as he slammed his head into the Tangela, launching it right into a tree. "He won't make it after this round," Nessa said, seeing Pokemon Poison before and saw that Kurama was getting slower. "Okay, go Gloom," Erika said as she called back her Tangela as it was unable to battle. "Yeah, you come back too, buddy," Naruto said as he sent out Charmander. "I thought he had Houndoom," Bee asked, as she thought that was the Pokemon he chose for this battle. "He switched them last minute." Charmander asked Houndoom if he could fight in his place, Misty said, seeing the moment before Naruto entered the gym. "Gloom, use Vine WHP," Erika said. "Dodge and use Slash," Naruto said. Charmander jumped to the left to avoid the Vine WHP before it charged, cutting the Vine whips to pieces as it slashed Gloom. "Use Sleep Powder," Erika said. "Another move I hate," Naruto thought, as that move left a Pokemon vulnerable to an attack. "Use Solar Beam," Erika said. Ah hell, Naruto said in surprise as that attack was definitely not one to dismiss. Pikachu shouted very loudly, making Charmander wake up. Don't just stand there, move. Naruto said to the Pokemon who barely dodged the attack. Why does she know so many basic moves? Nessa asked the others. Even basic moves are useful in their own way, Misty said, as any attack had the potential to be deadly. Okay, kitty gloves off, Charmander used Dragon Rush. Naruto said. Charmander glowed as energy surged from it, taking the shape of a dragon as it charged at Gloom and sent it flying out of the ring. Whoa, when did Charmander learn that? B asked in amazement. Well, either it's an egg move or Charizard taught it to it. Sabrina said as those two spent a lot of time together. Who? Naruto cheered as Charmander ran to him and jumped in his arms. You did well, Gloom, take a long rest. Erika said as she returned Gloom to its Pokeball. Gotta say, Naruto, you surprised me. I never expected Dragon Rush, she said, laughing a little. Here, you've more than earned this, she said, handing him the rainbow badge. Alright. Naruto said as his Pokemon cheered in victory. Now, that is done. I can take a look at your grow live. And maybe you could help me with my next batch of perfumes. Erika said, sending him a wink. Classic something for something, okay. Naruto said as he could understand a little quid pro quo. You know she wants to screw him, right? Nessa said to the other girls. What woman doesn't? B said as getting F by Naruto was an experience that's better than anything. So alright folks, that's all for today. Stay tuned for part 4. Do subscribe, like and share for more such videos. Also check out the story and author pyrohelixdrago on fanfiction.net. Press the bell icon to be notified first on release. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye.